Hello, everyone, and welcome to Court of the Rings here on twitch.tv/LotroStream, youtube.com/Lord of the Rings/live, and facebook.com/Lotro. I'm Lotro's community manager, Cordova, and hello. Been a couple of weeks. Nice to have you with me here. We're going to be doing some Q&A today. I have got something super cool to show you here in just a minute. We're going to... I presumably answer the topics of the day, which are many, as I understand it. So anyway, let us get started with this. So I'm on an internal development build here, and I'm here to show off a thing for you. Let me get my chat windows up just to make sure that I can read everyone's comments okay. I know, on time, not muted. It's almost like I prepared for today. Why, yes, I do have some idea of the release of Minas Morgul. I could talk about that in a little bit, but first, let us show you something amazing, I think, that is going to be coming to Lord of the Rings Online with the release of Minas Morgul in the Collector's and Ultimate Editions of the Minas Morgul bundle. You can find out more at lotro.com/Minas Morgul, lotro.com/Minas Morgul. If you purchase or have purchased the Collector's or Ultimate Edition of the Minas Morgul expansion, you will get one or two of the following, and let me explain how that's going to work. So if you get the Collector's or the Ultimate Edition of the Minas Morgul expansion, you will get a small crafting carry-all. This is called a small crafting carry-all. It is bound to account, and it can hold up to 10 stacks of crafting materials. If you get the Ultimate Edition of the Minas Morgul expansion, or if you already have purchased the Ultimate Edition of the Minas Morgul expansion, you will get a large crafting carry-all. So a large crafting carry-all, as you see, is a bag here that holds crafting components. It is bound to account, so you can get it through your shared bank and things like that. You can drag items to and from it if you wish to. And this will hold various crafting components that, you might need. And then the other thing you can do is click the gather button, and all that stuff will go into the large crafting carry-all, at which point you could put it in your shared bank and transfer it to another character on your account, etc., etc. Remember, so if you get a Collector's or Ultimate Edition, you will get a small bag. If you get the Ultimate Edition, in addition to the small bag, you will get a large bag. It does have search functionality, so let's just pick the word fresh. It will allow you to do, a query search of the bag there. It does paginate after a certain point, and that's what that's about. The other piece you can do is if you can just drag things individually out of your bag, and it will drag them out in the max stack size of your inventory, so you don't have to worry about max stack sizes as far as personal inventory versus the large crafting carry-all or small crafting carry-all. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what else we can mention. It's pretty cool. This is going to be delivered with the release of the Minas Morgul expansion. It will be delivered one per account. So that means when Minas Morgul is released, you'll want to log onto the server that you want the large or small crafting carry-all to be awarded to. And when you log into that, your first character on that server, you will get the corresponding crafting carry-all. At which point, of course, it is bound to account, so you can transfer it to another character as you wish. But in terms of initial delivery, it's going to be on the server that you first log into when Minas Morgul is released. And this is one per account. All right. Now that I've said that, At the moment, this is a crafting carry-all, so it will collect anything basically tagged as a crafting item. We could, if successful, potentially bring this kind of thing out for other kinds of items. I know I personally would love to see something like a task item, but, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. This is what we're debuting with. This is a small crafting carry-all and a large crafting carry-all that holds your crafting supplies. You can auto-gather, you can search. You can remove it from your inventory. Currently, right now, regardless of where you drag it, it's showing up in the most the first available slot in your inventory. My understanding is we're going to try to fix that as well so that it'll actually kind of go where you place it as necessary. But that's kind of a minor thing, and that's because this is in an internal development environment. This isn't even in the live game yet, but will be when Minas Morgul is released. So if you have a collector's edition or an ultimate edition of the Minas Morgul expansion, you'll get a small bag for the collector's and ultimate, and a large bag for the ultimate. Is there a limit to the number of different items? Yes. It can hold up to 50 stacks of crafting materials in the large crafting carry-all, and the small crafting carry-all can hold up to 10 stacks of crafting materials. We are not announcing at this time future ways in which case this might be distributed and or sold. Yeah, basically Telerian. It's going to be presumably you're going to log into a character that you want to get all the Minas Morgul stuff on, and that'll be the character that gets this bag too. So. All right. So we have nothing to announce regarding the release date of the Minas Morgul expansion outside of what is currently available on lotro.com/Minas Morgul. And give me just a real quick second. I can actually call that page up right now and show that to you. It might be worth doing for any other kind of Minas Morgul related questions before I move on to the next section of the show. We is currently slated for release on October 29th, 2019. In the event of a delay, you will receive the Minas Morgul expansion items no later than November 30th, 2019. And that is the official word on that one there. So, anyway, I thought that was pretty cool. Now, let me log into a regular character here, although I'm actually going to be keeping the screen up for a little while because I do expect to get a bunch of questions about a bunch of different topics that have been coming up over the past week. So, but I want to just start the show with that because I think some folks are going to be interested in that. Yes, it can be shared between characters on the same server. It is a bound-to-account item and abides by the same rules as any other bound-to-account item in the game. All right, so Ashigaru, you raise a topic that I know is going to come up, so why don't we get into that right now? It's a good question, one well worth putting fairly front and center on Court of the Rings here today. We made an announcement about what we're going to be doing with Embers, Motes, and Figments of Splendor with the release of Minas Morgul. I'm actually going to call up a webpage and basically have show and tell here today. But then I can also try to provide a little detail if further detail is needed. So, a bug has allowed some players to consolidate the numbers of Embers of Enchantment, Motes of Enchantment, and Figments of Splendor onto their account And numbers far above the wallet cap of 10,000. You too may have seen a screenshot with someone like, what, 177,000? This activity is no longer possible. When the Minas Morgul expansion is released, all embers and motes of enchantment, along with all figments of splendor, will have their total set to the cap of 10,000, if, of course, your total exceeds 10,000. You have between now and the release of the Minas Morgul expansion to spend your total down to the cap of 10,000. And when the expansion is released, any kind of remaining in excess of 10,000 will be removed, and your number will be set to 10,000. I guess I could say thank you as well. Thank you, please. We tried to figure out the best way that wasn't too punitive, but at the same time send a pretty clear message about what we actually want you to do, and not get too much into the drama of it all. So hopefully that's a decent enough solution for folks. As you know, shared transfer is currently disabled. It will not be coming back on in the short term here. We'll let you know when we do turn it on. It's not, for obvious reasons. I've seen some people sort of say, well, that must be why they turned it off. And although it certainly didn't not contribute to it, it is not the only reason why, frankly, the character transfers have been disabled. We're doing some kind of server work behind the scenes and things like that. So it may be a little while before we get this stuff back on. And when it, or if it comes back, it will let you know, and we'll let you know what the deal is then. But regardless, that's the message. So if you got more than 10,000, hey, go spend it now if you could. 50 stacks in the large carry-all. Oh, so Ashigaru, that's the other big question I've seen. Perhaps actually the chat room, since we're so kind of back and forth here, you guys can actually enlighten me as to why you think it would be. But are embers staying as embers, or are they turning into motes? Is there a different method for things in Minas Morgul? My understanding is we have never converted embers or motes directly after a release since their debut. Now, in other currencies in the past, we have done that kind of downgrade, but that's been the point of the 10,000 cap, essentially, since it made its debut, is that we would not do down conversion of things in your inventory. Now, remember, the sources of where you get embers and motes is going to change over time. Basically, the end game stuff, the newest stuff, is going to get you the motes. And then after it's no longer that anymore, it will basically go back down to embers. Or did I flip that around? You know what I mean. Can I confirm, is this bag for one carry-all? Is this crafting carry-all for one character at a time, or can it be accessed by any character on the server? So you can store everything in there. It is delivered as one item. And so, yes, it is for one character to the extent that you don't get one per character. However, the bag is, as you describe, accessible by any character on that server on your account, because the item itself is bound to account. So what will be delivered on the release of Minas Morgul is, if you have a collector's or an Ultimate Edition of the expansion, you will get a small crafting carry-all. And if you have the Ultimate Edition, in addition to that small one, you will get a large one. And then, assuming you have the Ultimate Edition, you're going to have two items that don't have to stay on that character because they're both bound to account. Hopefully that explains the answer to your question. Yes, Ashigaru, when embers were introduced, I thought they had said that embers would be intended for level cap gear and motes for everything less. And they had done that precisely so that you couldn't just bank embers before a new content release and get the stuff the moment you hit cap. Yes, with a cap of 10,000. That is why we put in that cap, and I believe we were explicit about that at the time. I apologize if clearly there are some people feeling that we were going to get rid of their moats. Now, does that give you a little bit of a little bit of a heads up to get some gear right away when Minas Morgul is released? Sure, a little bit, up to 10,000 of them. You can convert up to 10,000. I think you will probably find that 10,000 will not be enough to get everything you want. At least that is the expectation. And there we go. And that's why you got to spin them down to 10,000 before Minas Morgul's released. Okay, is that clear enough? Yeah, so, all right. Yeah. But I do understand what you're saying about how in the past they have done some down conversion. Now, what we mean by that is you are going to earn motes from the end game content. Embers. Yes. You will earn embers from end game content. And the end game content will be what gives you the embers of enchantment that you will use to get the gear you want. Now, when, say, a year from now, when Minas Morgul isn't the hottest, latest thing, then some other piece of content is going to be awarding those motes. And this content will potentially be, I don't even know if a year from now is going to be enough time, but like Mordor type, whatever. Once it gets past a certain threshold of not new anymore, it'll award motes instead. And so this is being done on a content side rather than a down conversion of currencies in players' inventories, which again is part of the key reason why preserving a cap on these currencies is important for us as a development team. I understand that there are some folks who might well want to have more than one of these bags. As a matter of fact, give me like a dozen of them spread across every single server in the game. I understand that need. I am here to announce today that we are providing what we are providing. And I have no further information at this time about other methods by which it may be distributed. So, sorry. Any news about a race change? Only that it is something that we're continuing to work on. When that functionality is ready to be debuted in a more public way, we'll make sure to do that. They're probably on the stream here, I would guess. So, Olabeni, just to be 100% clear, your existing embers, the existing embers in your character inventory will not be turning into motes upon the release of Minas Morgul. Can I be more clear than that? Hopefully, I'm sorry. Ooh, I like this Linnathorn. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give my voice a break and your ears a break, and you get to listen to something awesome. I have a preview track from one Bill Champagne, one Darth Celtics. And I'm going to cut out for just a couple of minutes to kind of get a refresh in the water and give my voice a little bit of a break. And so for the next couple of minutes here, let's have a listen, shall we, to a new track coming in Minas Morgul here. All right, back in a bit. right. Hey, that was a preview track from the Minas Morgul expansion that's going to be hitting Bull Roar hopefully as soon as next week. That's really the final piece of news here that I can think of today, rather than I was kind of going, well, what should I talk about? Because we already talked about the Embers moats thing. We've already shown off the track now. We showed off the crafting carry-all, and that was obviously a pretty big thing as well. And then finally, I guess probably the other big question that is on people's minds is the when on Minas Morgul. We are currently have nothing further to announce on the release date. What's stated in the Minas Morgul page at lotro.com/Minas Morgul is the currently available information. As soon as we know more, were something to change or something like that, we'll let you know. You'll know probably pretty darn close to instantly once it's been decided. And what we're going to aim for is our first Minas Morgul preview next week. So, pretty good chance it's going to happen. I don't want to specify a day at this time. I think some kind of work related to various builds and content needs to come in at a certain time for certain things to happen. So we'll see. But next week we are planning our first preview on Bull Roar of the Minas Morgul expansion. Otherwise, very good point. Thank you for someone reminding me about the events, because we have got a couple of cool events that are going to be happening between now and the next time we speak. So let me call up this folder here. And let me quick call up a website as well. And we'll get you some dates for things. And we can talk just a little bit more about it. There we go. Okay, so there's two events that really kick off next week here. The first one being I guess right now, technically. Right now we've got a VIP event boost going on. This is through the 14th. Yes. Thank you, explorers and such in the United States, for giving most folks a Monday off. And as such, we are going to be extending our bonus through that Monday. So the VIP event boost does go through Monday, October 14th, shutting off at 3 a.m. Eastern on Tuesday, October 15th. But wait, that's not all. A mere 7 hours later, the Harvest Math Festival begins. That begins on the 15th of October, so it'll be next Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and that is going through November 4th, being shut off on Tuesday, November 5th at 3 a.m. Also next week, although, actually, I guess that'll probably be next week's show then. So next week, the Duran's Day event begins. Now, this was one that we did as a deliberate surprise, if I recall, last year. But this year, it's just flat all on the calendar. And it begins on the 18th at 10 a.m. Eastern and runs through the 21st. So a short turnaround of this one because it is a special event. So through the 21st, being shut off on the 22nd at 3 a.m. Eastern Time. So basically it starts 2.5 hours ago, a week from today, and then runs through that Monday. And if you were there last year and thought that was pretty cool, you might indeed wish to go again this year, because there may be a reason for that. Just to give you a big all hint. Will Harvest Math feature a new mount? I'm not ready to announce what is new on the Harvest Math Festival. We're going to leave that be a surprise for when the Harvest Math Festival is open. I'm sure we'll have some cool screenshots and that to share next week. I have not heard anything about the Light of Arendelle for the new Minas Morgul landscape or instances. My understanding is that it's not going to be a prominent feature, but that is something that, we'll see. We'll see. But currently, I don't think there's much that just the natural grant that you get from the level you're at should probably be enough to get done what you need to get done, if it's even an issue. All right. When is Minas Morgul beta starting? The goal is next week. Any ETA on Bull Roar? Yes, Felnul, next week. Anything said about a Rohan premium estate? No, sorry, Axel. Nothing to announce there. No ETA on transferability? Yes, sorry about that. We will let you know as soon as we can. Rick, the question about, well, if you have the server character transfers off, how are people going to copy their characters to Bull Roar is a very good question, and one that we are actively working to provide an answer for that we'll have hopefully next week. But we'll see. We'll see what we can do there. No promises. Do you know if our kinship pages will be increased? I have not heard of plans to do that. So, Olabedi, I'm sorry. If what you're telling me is that you dramatically overcapture embers and now you don't have anything to spend them on, I guess I'm sorry. I feel for you. I hope that's not what you're asking, but, you know. Any word on whether the Valar included in the Collector's and Ultimate Edition will be usable on a 120 character? My understanding is that that is the intention, is to allow that usage to be had. That is different from what Tiber said, as I recall, 2 weeks ago during our Minas Morgul Q&A, because it was just being done at that time. But my understanding is after really the community came forward and said, well, here's why we'd want to, that a discussion was had and we're not really opposed to it. So assuming that technical work has been completed, my understanding is yes, you should be able to use it on a 120 character if you want to. However, I think in terms of the Valar in the Lotro store, in terms of displaying, I'm not sure what we're going to do there, because we don't want to have a significant number of people accidentally buy it thinking that they are going to get a level benefit from it if they are 120. So that kind of remains a final piece to sort of figure out. But given the desire from people, well, let me if I want to, we're not necessarily opposed to that. So assuming we can get that done on the technical side, that's the intention. Squirrel, I don't want to get into kind of plot spoilers about Second Age, current time, etc., etc. Will the crafting bag be available on the legendary servers? Technically, yeah. It's a great question. I will have to confer with the team to see whether the exclusive Minas Morgul items are intended to be delivered to the hardcore server or not. My guess is it would be fine if you... I don't know. I'm going to have to ask about that one. Sorry. That's a tough one. I'm not prepared to answer. I'm going to have to double check on that. Sorry. I can see it going both ways. Yep. So, Henario Briones says on Twitch, too bad there isn't a bag to store musical instruments. I think the intention is that if this is successful, and clearly I think people are going to want it, we'll see what kinds of things we could do in the future. You know, as you say, musical instruments, you know, what task bags? I mean, the list goes on, shall we say. And so I think that this probably isn't the beginning and end of this kind of technology, but we shall see what happens. Yeah, exactly. The issue is the level cap item in terms of the legendary server. So I don't want to commit one way and then make you potentially make a purchase based on that and then be incorrect. So I'm not going to answer it right now. Sorry. All right. I think I'm actually going to call the show at that point. So I've gone through the major news of the week here, and we've talked a little bit about the bonuses. So you guys have a pretty clear handle of what's going on here. Maybe just actually, there is one final kind of piece of news that I can mention here, and that is, let me just real quick do a shout out / explanation here. First off, let me give a shout out to one all of you who has done the, trust me, I know what kind of work it is to put together the Lotro Beacon every week in recent, several years now, something like that. As it happens sometimes, a job opportunity came along for all of you that an opportunity along a career path that could not be passed up. So all of you is temporarily is no longer with us right now at SSG, and is instead off pursuing dreams based on opportunity presented. So I will say no more to that. However, that means little old me is coming back on the Lotro Beacon. I'm still maintaining the one for the other game as well, so it'll be both the Beacon and the Chronicle every week. That's going to necessitate just a couple of changes that I'm going to need to do because between the last time I did the Beacon, put it together, sent it out for localization, staged 3 language pages, and published it, my job duties have gone up slightly. So I'm making an editorial change on the delivery of the Lotro Beacon. Starting today, the Lotro Beacon will be published on Friday afternoon. Friday afternoon is when I'm going to be publishing the Lotro Beacon from here on out. Generally, the deadline to get stuff to me is not going to change. That deadline is a hard Tuesday late afternoon, but preferably like Tuesday late morning. And if you want to send stuff in to the Beacon, you just go to Lotro at standingstonegames.com. Lotro at standingstonegames.com to send in a thing for the community spotlight for the Lotro Beacon. But I'm going to be publishing it on Friday afternoons now, which on the one hand, I kind of like because it's sort of a kickoff to the weekend. It gives you a chance maybe to read Saturday mornings over coffee, tea, whatever. And it opens up a little bit of time in the process that is just going to make it doable as a long-term concern. So I know that when Olive, was able to announce on her own personal Twitter that she has found a job opportunity there, that one of the first questions was, does that mean the Beacon's going away? And at the time, I was like, well, I need to think about this. How am I going to make this all work, right? But I think I've been able to do it. So what's going to be happening now is we're basically just shifting it out a day, and it'll be published on Friday afternoons. Ideally, and hopefully, and my expectation is, it will be published in languages 3. That being English, French, and German, every Friday afternoon Eastern Time. And I recognize that means if you're French and German, it's pretty late night publishing for you. So I guess you in particular are the coffee and or tea in the morning crowd. Sorry if that sucks, but there's just really no other option. But I like this thing, and I don't want it to go away. I think it's been proven valuable. Despite, it being kind of the same thing week after week and all that sort of thing, it serves a specific purpose, which is to get community events, sales information, general pulse of the community stuff, and a whole bunch of kind of YouTube, Twitch, fan site, blog, podcast, things like that out, along with things like links to release notes and big beat links, or however you want to call it, from us in one place every single week. And that has proven to be exceptionally valuable. So it is going to continue, and it's going to be published on Friday afternoons. And also, thank you so much, all of you. You rocked. No, we don't often talk about this kind of transition stuff, but because all of you was the name on the Lotro Beacon and very publicly did a great job kind of doing this work every week, I wanted to just kind of end the show by explaining what's going on there. How much does the Beacon editor pay? It pays nothing. It is essentially a volunteer position. No, it's not true. It's just part of the regular job duties. And it's worth doing, like I say. It's worth doing for a whole bunch of reasons. So hopefully you enjoy it, and that'll be published every Friday afternoon on Lotro.com. You can find it on Twitter.com/Lotro as well, Facebook.com/Lotro. Please give us a like, follow, subscribe, etc. over on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. You can check out Lotro.com, Minas Morgul for more. That's going to do it with me this week. Up next in a little bit here is Druid's Fire. She is filling in for Corey Olson and will be taken over through the afternoon here. If we got anything more to announce next week regarding, say, Minas Morgul beta and some other stuff, we'll have more information there. And I'm also going to work to get something out related to the crafting carry-all over on the Lotro forums and probably even social media, and within probably the next hour or two. So have a great day, everyone, and I'll talk to you again soon.